Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow Monday to Friday. The main talking points tonight: the League Cup takes centre stage this evening and of course tomorrow as well. Will the smaller clubs provide us with a few shocks and knock some of the Premiership teams out? Ronnie Dyla says Carlton Cole has a week to impress at Celtic. Sir Alex Ferguson says he only ever worked with 4 world-class players in his time at Manchester United. Yep, these are the talking points. Alan Ruff and myself, Peter Martin, and of course a special boot room guest.
The Boot Room, sponsored by Third Dimension Framing.
Hamilton's Dougie Imrie is our boot room guest. Delighted to have Dougie with us, of course, now taking lots of kids in to show them the art of how to score a header up like a salmon, Ruffy. It's the first time I've seen Dougie score a header. I can't recall one before that.
Yeah, it's one of these ones in the telly when you're watching the telly and you see somebody out wide and the ball gets flung to the back post. You wonder who's coming in at the back, and all of a sudden the ball Dougie's there, you know. Shock,
yeah.
You know, and the height, you know, it was, you must have been coming in for the byline to get that bit of momentum.
Yeah, it was just one of those balls that never really had much pace on it, so I had to try and get up above the defender, and thankfully the only place I could put the ball was where it went, and managed to get that goal.
And it must be difficult going up that high with that leverage, and you know, sometimes you get defenders get the benefit of the doubt that you're up on top of them.
Well, I think I had a wee little bit of run on him as well, so it kind of gave me the leverage to get up above him. The back post, but for us, obviously, we were delighted to get the bragging rights and win the game 1-0.
Did you always get the feeling Dougie was just going to take one goal in that game? Derby's like that. I mean, I was going to say Derby sometimes are very close, but last season they were far from close.
Well, that's true, obviously. Really good for us, you know. We had a 4-0 win at Fir Park, and then we beat them 5-0 in the New Year game at our place. But obviously this season it was good to get that win, but like you say, it was nip and tuck, and they had a few chances. After that, we had a couple of opportunities, but thankfully we managed to get the goal to win the game.
Yeah. This season, okay, I actually had to stop myself from laughing when they were calling you the elder statesman in that side, which I thought, my God, he's got a good few years in him yet, never mind calling him a veteran. But you're obviously getting involved in the coaching as well, which is something I know that you wanted to get involved in. Yeah,
it's been great. I've had the opportunity. George Cairns has been a great help to me, giving me that opportunity. Obviously Alec, before he left, gave me that opportunity as well, but it's been great, and to see the kids that are coming through the age groups is great, and it can only be good for the club. Yeah.
Is there another conveyor belt of stars there?
There's a few. I do 16s and I do the 17s, and we've got some gems in there. And I managed to get along to some of the other groups to see them as well, and there's some really good players coming through.
Yeah, well, we'll talk more with Dougie on the personal ambitions, and of course Hamilton 5th in the table, Ruffy, and defying a few people along the way. There's been more than a few of us thinking relegation, but they're proving us wrong.
Yeah. The manager and the players, all the credit. You know, I was just going to say to Dougie there that as a player, you know, when you're in a team and you see 2 or 3 players leaving every year at the end of the players who are still there, you know, so you've got to up your game a wee bit. You know, Hamilton Accies, as Dougie's just said there, have got reserves in abundance. They just seem to have one goes, another one just kicks in there.
Yeah, Dougie, your old side, Morton, you were part of a team that caused a bit of a cup shock when you scored the winner against Celtic. Are they more than capable of doing it against Motherwell?
Yeah, I think so. They've obviously went down a league last season and come straight back up. Jim Duffy's come in and built a really strong squad there. This season they've done exceptionally well again. I think they're 6 unbeaten now. Got a good draw at Queen of South at the weekend there, a hard place to go for any team. So.
If there's any flack, the fans should direct it towards him rather than the players.
Well, that's a sign of a good manager, taking away the pressure from the players, but certainly in the light of last year and also the cup runs as well, they were knocked out very early. They really need to get their act together, and a result that Morton winning tonight wouldn't be pleasing on the fans, and it just puts added pressure on the manager. So he really needs to do is get a couple of wins to take the pressure off.
Yeah, let's look at the fixtures for the Tuesday night games. And as you can see, Morton, Motherwell in there, Rangers, St Johnstone, Dundee United, Dunfermline, Livingston against Inverness, Cally Thistle, and Ross County against Falkirk. Before I talk about one of those matches that might potentially provide another shock, Rangers against St Johnstone. Wouldn't be a shock if Rangers won the match. And certainly over the last 24 hours, there's been a lot of positive stuff from Mark Warburton, dismissing the gap that everybody's talking about between Championship and the Premiership, and also suggesting that Rangers, would be doing well in the Premiership if they were in the Premiership right now.
Well, he's saying all the right things. That's what the support. It'll be something going into that game that I'm sure the Rangers players will want to see what the players are in the SPFL. I think the pace will be something that they haven't come up against this year. Obviously they'd come up against it with Hibs, but apart from that, I think that is the only thing of the St Johnstone players.
And again, Dougie, you can just tell right now the momentum is building with Rangers. It's 11 wins on the trot. The confidence is there, and the fans are turning out in great numbers.
Yeah, it's. I think the manager come in and done really well. He's turned over the playing staff. He's brought in youth and with a little bit of experience. And like you say, they've 11 wins out of 11. It's got to be a tough night for St Johnstone. But like I say, they're obviously the Premier League team. With a little bit more about them. Don't get me wrong, no disrespect to the teams in the Championship, apart from obviously Hibs, maybe St Mirren. The teams maybe give them a little bit of a game, but like I say, it'll be a tough game for Rangers and for St Johnstone, but it's a game that will obviously be interesting.
Yeah, and maybe is there possibly a cup shock there? Because right now you can tell that Jackie McNamara is frustrated. The manner in which they lost the goal against Inverness, a back post ball from Christie's corner, earns Inverness a draw against United. Tonight, I think the last thing
Two games, the highlights particularly, they should have won the last two games. That's the confidence that you're trying to instill in the players. But if Dunfermline were to score first tonight, you could actually feel the unrest as we speak, and that's what will happen. If they were to score, the pressure would be all on the Dundee United players. The supporters would be not too happy about it either. So it just adds the pressure to it. So they really need to go out and establish an early goal and go on and win that game quite comfortably.
Okay, coming up in the next part of the programme, we will talk about Wednesday night's fixtures as well. Ronnie Tyler, the Celtic boss, has been speaking today. He said Carlton Cole has got about a week to impress, but he's probably short of match fitness as well. Is he worth taking a gamble on, Ruffy?
Yeah, I think he is, because he's something that Celtic don't have as an out-and-out striker. A lot of the other players all rely on their pace. They don't have a target man, But again, if he was to sign, you would look at the Lee Griffiths. He's been playing up front. Would the two of them play off each other? That's something that Celtic might look at. But I think he's been brought just for numbers. Obviously with the Europa run, that they've only got two strikers just now. I don't think we can count Stokes. He seems to be right out of the equation. So 3 strikers is something that a top club should have. Yeah,
you think he's been brought to make up the numbers, or do you think he will contribute?
I think he'll contribute, but I think that I was talking to some Celtic supporters there, that the worry for them is 2 out of the last 4 have been successful and the others haven't, so it just depends, that how I think he'll be reasonably fit, there's no doubt about that. I think he would be a good addition. I mean, you look at the number of crosses Celtic put into the box, and there's nobody on the end of them. With their full-backs getting forward, he could be the player that just gives them that added bit.
Yeah. Is it the end for Stokes in a Celtic jersey?
Well, it must be. You know, he's not. I think he's been on the bench for a while. You know, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Maybe the contract situations have come stalled, and they've just said, well, if you're not going to sign, you're not going to play.
Okay, get your thinking caps on, lads. Sir Alex Ferguson named 4 world-class players that have played under him at Manchester United. There's a heck of a lot of players, mightily miffed or not included in that 4, but if you can give us your guess at that, Ruffy, and of course our boot room guest, Dougie Imrie, get writing now, and we'll see if they get all 4 correct after the break. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow. We're talking League Cup in the company of our boot room guest.
The Boot Room, sponsored by Third Dimension Framing.
Dougie Imrie, the Hamilton striker, midfielder, possibly. Have you played at the back as well, Dougie?
Left back.
Have you?
Yeah.
That was a tough time when the manager really was scraping the barrel left back, but nevertheless he'll play anywhere to get a shot on, and we're delighted he's our boot room guest. Alan Ruff and Dougie Imrie have written down 4 players' names, but I can tell you, because of a wee bit of jiggery pokery, the 2 guys couldn't get one specific name. Give me the 3 that you did get, Ruffy.
Well, I have to be fair. I think Dougie get most of them early on, so I'll let
Dougie get all of them?
Yeah, I'll let Dougie. No, Dougie was quite sharp with 3 of them at least.
Yeah.
Paul Scholes,
Cantona.
Eric Cantona,
Yep.
and
That
my memories
caught you out.
My memories went.
Cantona, Scholes, Giggs.
Sorry.
And the 2 of you couldn't get Ronaldo. You need to have a long
He was
hard
too
look at
obvious.
yourself. What?
Yeah,
He was too obvious.
Oh, wait a minute. If it's that obvious, just name it.
No, we were looking at fringe, weren't we? We
We
weren't really
went
consistent.
David Beckham, but he wasn't
David
one.
Beckham. That
Can't
was,
believe he wasn't in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was an interesting chat. Sir Alex was talking to the media down south. 4 names. I mean, for me, obviously Ronaldo is just breaking records right, left and centre and trying to, share them with Messi as often as possible in La Liga. But Scholes was just a superb player. I can totally and utterly get it. I understand the catalyst is Cantona, but Scholes for me was just magnificent, Ruffy.
Well, Scholes was the one that was always on the team sheet. You know, the others came and went, and you didn't really appreciate him because there was lots of big names in the Man United side. You know, the Van Nistelrooys and all that were all coming in. So he just went about his business and never got the limelight like everybody else. And I think even with England, I don't think he got the credit as well when playing for them.
Yeah, and of course, I think Ali Crawford, Dougie, has modelled himself on Paul Scholes. He won't do an interview with anybody. He's got to be the shyest guy of all time.
He's the quietest player I've ever met, but football-wise, he's a great player.
Yeah, is he one of those guys? We don't want to get any player out of Hamilton Accies, but is he one of those guys you think it's going to be too tough to hold him at the end of the season?
Yeah, I think so. After the season he had last season, he's obviously carried it on this season. I think he's got about 4 goals already, number of assists as well. So don't get me wrong, I don't want to sit here and bum him up and get my move, but yeah, if we can keep him for another, at least to the end of the season, that would be great for us. But like I say, he's obviously deserved of a move, I think. Yeah,
just a wee quick update on Mark Ridgers has had to come in on an emergency loan to Kilmarnock. Ruffy, they let Craig Sampson go, and then, as luck would have it, all 4 goalkeepers that were available to them have now either picked up an injury. One of them is obviously at Derby County as well, so Gary Locke has his hands tied. Yeah,
that just shows you how important a goalkeeper is now. You know, if you've got somebody at the back, you can rely on. Sometimes you just take it for granted, and when something like this happens, you're scampering about trying to get somebody of equal ability, but they've got a goalkeeper who's got good experience, so yeah, I think he'll do them.
Yeah, let's have a look at the League Cup fixtures tomorrow that are on offer. Celtic against Wraith Rovers, Hibernian against Aberdeen, and Kilmarnock against Hearts. Robbie Nielsen has mentioned, Ruffy, that he hasn't spoken to Gary Locke since he left Hearts. Not that you would expect it anyway. It would be a difficult one. What do you say to a guy who's gone through the pain barrier for Hearts, and then just when it looks as if there's stability up above, he has to make way for a younger man.
Yeah, I mean, I think Robbie Nielsen will appreciate, what happened to Gary. There was obviously a total revamp at Hearts, and unfortunately Gary was the first one to suffer. He'd went through everything, as Ali McCoy's had at Rangers. So, the new owners come in and saw another way to go, and unfortunately he had to leave. So, I mean, Gary will have something to prove tonight, and I'm sure if he was to beat tomorrow night, if they were to beat Hearts, and they'll have a wee smile on his face.
Yeah, he's certainly a man who's dedicated everything to Hearts. Give us your thoughts on that game tomorrow night. You can do it at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and on facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy as well. Post us a little message. We'll give you a mention on the programme. Dougie, Killie against Hearts. Hearts are trying to stop the rot. Who would have thought? I mean, this is something they've not been accustomed to, is losing games.
Yeah, that's right. They were unbeaten until they played us at New Douglas Park a few weeks ago, and like I said, they probably felt they were a little bit unjust with the sending off. We obviously were leading 1-0 at half time. They came out all guns blazing second half, managed to get themselves 2-1 up, and then obviously the turning point is the sending off. It's kind of killed their momentum and gave us a little bit of a lifeline, and we managed to capitalise on that and managed to win the game 3-2 that day. But they've got some really good players. They play good football. We've not played Kilmarnock this season yet, so we've got them on Saturday. So I can't really say how the game will go, because I don't see how the two teams have played yet. So, but like I say, it should be a good game, and like you say, it'll be a game Gary Locke will be looking forward to as well. Yeah,
is there a particular player on the Hearts side that impressed you?
To be fair, they've got a number of good players. I think the lad Delgado that's come in, striker, very powerful, direct, scores goals. Jamie Walker, another good player that I've played against before, and he's kicked on again. But they've got some great young players coming through. The other winger, I can't remember his name, the young lad, but is it Billy King?
Yeah.
Another good player. But to be fair, they've all good players. And like I say, he's built a very good, strong squad there.
Yep. Okay, that's is that a shock for you, Ruffy? Would that be? Is there any Killie? Are they favourites for you to get that win there?
No, I think it'll be very tight. Again, that I can't really. Fair enough, I was putting on a coupon. I couldn't say who's going to win that one.
Well, listen, you don't put on a coupon after 3 bets on Saturday. Trust us to pick all 3 teams that just blew it completely. I don't think we get one right. If there is a game that I think, Rangers St Johnstone tonight, really looking forward to it, but Hibs against Aberdeen has got the makings of an absolute cracker here. Yeah,
it just depends on what Derek McInnes does. Obviously he's got a lot of players, a lot of good players sitting on the bench. If he was deciding to play 5 of them, you wouldn't be surprised, and I don't think they'd be weakened that much. So that would be, I think, what Hibs would be hoping on, that he maybe tinkers with his team a wee bit. But again, everybody that comes into that Aberdeen team will have something to prove, and that could be a hard one as well. Yeah. Who are you going to predict? Hibs. Hibs to win it? Yeah. Yeah? Okay. You said Aberdeen last night on the programme. Have you changed your mind? Yeah. Has there something significant happened over 24 hours? No, I just had to think about it, and I think the players will be focused on the good run that they're having in the league. And as I said, there's always a strange result in this cup. Every year there's a result where you think somebody's a certainty, and all of a sudden they get beat. Okay, Dougie, are you going to go along with them? Because if we talk about momentum, if we talk about teams that are undefeated, I did mention there are a select few teams across Europe that have a 100% record. Aberdeen are one of them.
Nah, to be fair, I'll have to stick with Aberdeen. I think they're strong. Like Ruffy says, they've got that many players, good players that could come off the bench, even if they decide to change it. I seen Adam Rooney didn't play at the weekend. They could bring him back in. Yeah, he's a top goal scorer, so when you've got that at your expense, then you're going to obviously be stronger. Don't get me wrong, when we played them up there in the midweek Tuesday game, we gave them a right good game. Don't get me wrong, they were, for the first half, they kind of battered us, but we managed to wear and restore them. In the second half, I think we were a better team, but like I say, they've got that many good players that they can bring in anyone. Yeah, okay, let's see how your predictions go then, Ruffy. Celtic Wraith. Celtic. Hibs Aberdeen. Hibs. And Killie Hearts. Killie. Okay. Okay. Right, I'm laughing at you because I'm disagreeing with you. Dougie, give us your 3. Aberdeen, Celtic, Hearts.
Hearts. Okay then. I'm going to get a text from Dougie just saying told you so. What does he know about football? Just before we go, Ruffy, our old friend Davy Moyes under a wee bit of pressure. They've got 2 points from their opening 4 fixtures. I'm hearing rumblings in Spain. Spain is an unforgiving country when it comes to managers surviving for a long period of time. He's got 2 huge games coming up. Granada tonight in the league, and then of course the big Basque derby against Athletic Bilbao.
Yeah, well, unfortunately for him, you know, there are a number of teams over there with much more financial resources than him, you know, and he did particularly well last year, there's no doubt about that. But again, it's a long way to go, and it's far too early to start sacking managers.
Yeah.
Unless you're in Spain.
Yeah, just about to say to you, Ruffy, words of wisdom to you that will be totally disregarded by boardrooms up and down the country of Spain. We wish him well, fingers crossed for those 2 games for David Moyes at Real Sociedad. You see, we cover football right across the globe. You can join us tomorrow night on the programme, because we'll either have a happy Jim Duffy or a very angry Jim Duffy in here. He will get his thoughts on Morton against Motherwell and how his team fared. Join us if you can for that. A big thank you to our Bootroom guest, Dougie Imrie, for joining us here on the programme. Jim Duffy, and of course we'll have Chris Sutton on Thursday. Join us if you can.